So Dr. Sandberg-Lewis is he's really a teacher for practitioners. He has his own practice. He's been really in the field for 40 years, but he teaches at the Naturopathic Medical College. He teaches at Bastyr. He goes around the world lecturing at conferences. So it's a real honor to have him here today. And I want to get into his book, Let's Get Real About Reflux. But Dr. Sandberg, welcome for coming here. And I wanted to start off, if you don't mind, with talking about reflux, because what I have noticed is how little people understand about their digestive tract. For example, they really don't even know what the stomach does and what about the esophagus and how they all work together. So could we start there? And by the way, I've listened to very complicated webinars and so on that you've done. But what I would like to accomplish in this one is to, even though we have practitioners listening, I would like for the layperson to really understand this information. There's so many millions of people on drugs for reflux. The question is, they really need to be. So I'd like to keep it kind of simple, if you don't mind. Even though you can go quite deep into this subject, I'd really like to help people understand, what is reflux? Do they really have it? And I'd kind of like to start with explaining the different organs in the digestive tract.
All right. Let me just say, though, the reason I wrote this book, Let's Be Real About Reflux, is I wanted to write a book that was a crossover for both practitioners and patients, lay people. And so there's a glossary at the beginning of each chapter. And the first chapter is on the upper digestive tract. So we'll kind of cover some of what's in there right now. So, of course, after the mouth, and of course, digestion starts in the mouth with chewing and saliva, starting the process of digesting starches. The food moves down, only spends about 10 seconds or less in the esophagus. It's basically a tube that carries food and liquid and medicine from the mouth to the stomach. And there are two sphincters in there, two places where the muscles contract to keep things in the right place. There's an upper esophageal sphincter that keeps air from getting into the stomach. And there's a lower esophageal sphincter at the bottom that keeps the stomach contents out of the esophagus. Then the stomach, which is below the diaphragm. So that's an important piece to understand, that the diaphragm separates everything in the chest, the esophagus, the lungs, the heart, the great vessels like the aorta, separates that from everything that's in the abdomen below. And there's a hole in the middle of the diaphragm called the hiatus, which means window. And that's what allows the esophagus to meet up with the stomach that's below the diaphragm. After the stomach, which is a really complex muscle, it's like 3 layers of muscle that really mixes the food and produces acid and pepsin and other factors that are needed for starting protein digestion and mineral digestion. At the bottom of the stomach is the pyloric valve that's supposed to keep the small intestine, bile, pancreatic enzymes, bicarbonate, other things from the small intestine from refluxing up into the stomach. So that's the upper GI tract. Once you get it past the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine, and then into the colon, that's considered more the lower GI tract.